So this week we're going to answer the question, can guys and girls be just friends? I know this is a topic that a lot of people have very different opinions on, and sometimes very strong opinions, and I want to try my best to make this interactive. So please let me know in the comment section below what you think. Do you think guys and girls can be just friends, or do you think that's not possible? Also, please remember to subscribe so you can receive updates on more Islamic videos. Jazakumullah khair.
كتاب الله دستوري وخير الخلق أسوتنا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're all doing well, inshallah. So to start off, I want to make something very clear. Please, before you place any judgment on the video, before you start saying, man, this guy is becoming so extreme, or like, why is he talking about this topic, or anything like that, just bear with me and try your best to watch the entire video and then make a fair judgment. I'm saying this because it's actually been a question that's been asked multiple times, and it's something that a lot of our youth are struggling with, something that even I struggled with for a very long time. And I'm just gonna give some of my own advice on the issue. I'll use some hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I'll try to make it as sincere of an advice video as possible, inshallah. So to start off, I want to make a distinction here. Many people think that when we talk about guys and girls being friends or not being friends, they think that khalas, it means either guys and girls can interact and be friends and everything, or they completely avoid each other at all costs. No, you don't want either extreme, right? You want to make sure that, for example, in the workplace, in a professional setting, whether you're at school or you're working on a project or something, there will be times where guys and girls have to interact regardless of whether or not you think guys and girls can be friends. So let's make that clear from now. We don't want to take anything to either extreme. We have to remember that Islam does teach us to live a balanced life. Regardless of your overall opinion, there will be times where you will have to interact with the opposite gender, and as long as you're responsible with it and you know your boundaries, you know your limits, there's nothing wrong with that, inshallah. Now on to the question of whether or not guys and girls can be just friends. Let's start with the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he talks about temptations and fitna, trials and tribulations for his ummah. And he says that there is no trial, there's no temptation that I fear more for my ummah than the temptation of women. And specifically here he's talking about the temptation that men have towards women. And there's a reason why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is specifically singling out the men here. It's because men and women are created differently. I'm not saying that women don't like men. Yes, they have those feelings, right? They are human. They do have these kinds of emotions, but we are made very different, and we're gonna go into detail on this specific topic a little bit later on in the video, inshallah, so stick around for that. But what I mean here is that this desire that men have for women is extremely strong. When we see someone that we're attracted to, we're gonna wanna look. It's tough to lower your gaze, and that's why there's such a big reward for those that do lower their gaze. Also, even if you wanna take this from a secular outlook, if you want to take Islam out of the picture and just say, for example, ask a non-Muslim and honestly ask them, can guys and girls be just friends? If they answer honestly, they will tell you that guys and girls cannot be friends. This is if you're asking a non-Muslim guy. If you ask a non-Muslim girl, on the other hand, the answer is going to be very different, and we're going to go over that, inshallah. But here, take a look at this real interview that was done with multiple students, non-Muslim students on a university campus, where this guy pretty much goes around and he asks guys and girls, do you think guys and girls can be just friends? Check it out.
Do you believe that men and women can be just friends?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
I think it'd be hard to do.
Yes.
I mean, we're all men.
I know.
So of course we're going to have those feelings, and we can be content with just friendship, and we can be silent regarding those feelings, but we're gonna have them.
Subhanallah, it's amazing how you find answers on opposite ends of the spectrum. And this goes to show us that guys and girls really do think differently. With a girl, she has no problem having a normal friendship with a guy. She can control herself, she knows her limits, and she knows how to set those limits, she knows how to make things clear from day one, and that's it. She has no trouble following that. Whereas guys, on the other hand, have trouble with this. You know, we may try to tell ourselves that, you know what, this is going to be nothing but a friendship. I see her but nothing as a friend. This is going to go no further than that. And I'm going to set my limits, I'm going to set my boundaries, and that's it. I have to follow them. And you know, that might work for week 1, week 2, week 3, but eventually, whether it's a couple months down the road or a couple years down the road, eventually your emotions will get the best of you. Sooner or later, you're going to start losing sleep because all you're doing is thinking about this person. Sooner or later, you're going to start thinking to yourself, how am I going to take myself out of this so-called friend zone? You know, how am I going to make this girl not just a friend, but like a lifelong partner? I know it sounds crazy, it might even sound creepy to some people, but this is the reality. And any guy that tells you that this is not how they really think, honestly, they're either lying or they just haven't reached that emotional state with you yet, right? But eventually it will happen. Guys and girls have not been designed to just be friends casually. You know, think about how many relationships end because a guy was found cheating on his girlfriend, or a guy was found cheating on his wife. And many times they end up cheating with someone that they actually know, like a friend or an acquaintance or something like that. It shows us that we have trouble controlling ourselves around the opposite gender. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have placed limits for us. That's why we were taught to lower our gaze. That's why we were taught to limit our conversations with women if they're not necessary. You know, that's why we were taught to not touch other women. We can't shake their hand. It's not because we disrespect them. It's not because we think they're any less than us. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. It's actually because we were trying to respect them, and we're trying to protect ourselves as well. You know, we're trying to make sure we're setting those limits for ourselves, setting a boundary for ourselves, so that we don't fall into sin and pull people down with us. It happens all the time. I'll be honest, it's not an easy topic to talk about, but it's something that has to be said. It's something that gets asked all the time, and unfortunately it's considered almost like a taboo topic in the community. And because of this, our youth are falling into sin. You know, they're getting in trouble by overstepping their boundaries, and by the time they realize that they went too far, it's too late. They've already become emotionally attached, and some of them have even become physically attached to these people. They end up ruining relationships. They end up ruining families even. And one thing I want to say here, and this is specifically going to their brothers, you know, sometimes we have this double standard where if let's say we have a sister, we would never ever allow our sister to be texting some guy until 1 or 2 in the morning. Even like, forget 1 or 2 in the morning, just texting a guy in general. You know, we would be really bothered or even angered by that, right? We would never allow that. We would never allow our sister to go out for coffee with a guy one-on-one, or even in a group setting. Some of us would be bothered by that, right? But when it comes to us wanting to text a girl until 2 or 3 in the morning, when it comes to us wanting to go out for lunch with a girl that we like, or a girl that we consider our friend, it's okay. We have that double standard, and that is not Islamic. It is not right. It is not fair. Now, if you're not going to accept that for your sister, then how in the world can you accept that for someone else's sister, someone else's daughter, someone else's wife? It just doesn't make sense. So we have to be true to ourselves. We have to live our life in the most honest way possible. And by doing so for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, we will be truly rewarded with a great reward, inshaAllah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never ever overlook the struggles that we go through for His sake. He will never overlook the sacrifices that we make for His sake. And the reward of Allah Azza wa Jal is better than any reward you can get in this life. Better than anything you can ever imagine. So I hope this video was beneficial. I hope the message is something that helps you out, inshaAllah. If you have any questions or concerns, if you have any other different questions you want to talk about in future Ask Younes videos, let me know in the comment section below, inshaAllah. I hope nothing I said offended anyone, and inshaAllah we'll see you next week. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.